How do I stay in the present moment when it feels unbearable? Someone asked Thich Nhat Hanh this once, and the room went quiet, because everyone there already knew the answer they were living, which was to not stay, to check something, think about something, plan something, to keep moving just fast enough that the weight underneath never quite lands. You're very good at this. Most people are. What I've noticed in myself still is that the running doesn't always look like running. Sometimes it looks like productivity. Sometimes it looks like putting on something thoughtful to listen to. Something like this even. There are two things that can happen when you actually stop. The first, and Thich Nhat Hanh speaks of this, is that you find something good, something quiet and available. The light in the room, the fact that you're breathing, a kind of aliveness that was always there, just underneath the noise. But the second thing, that's the one that changes everything. Sometimes when you stop, really stop, what's there isn't peace. It's the thing you've been outrunning, a grief that never finished, an anxiety with no clear object, a loneliness that doesn't make sense given the circumstances, something that feels, in that moment, like if you let yourself fully touch it, it might swallow you whole. And so the instinct kicks in. Immediately, almost automatically, you reach for something, anything. The mind, sensing pain with no clear exit, just moves. It imagines a future where this is resolved. It revisits a past that feels more manageable. It consumes food, content, conversation, not out of hunger, but out of a need to keep the surface moving, so nothing rises from underneath. And it works. For a while. The sign that it's stopped working, I've found, is when you need more of it, more noise, more distraction, more movement. The strategy reveals itself by how hard it has to work. But the pain doesn't leave. It just waits. And while it waits, it grows. The way things grow when no one is tending to them, slowly, almost invisibly, until the distraction that worked last month needs to be louder now. More of something else entirely. And even then, there's always a moment when it breaks through anyway. Thich Nhat Hanh named what happens next with an accuracy that's almost uncomfortable to hear. Most people are afraid that when they come home to themselves and touch the pain inside, they will be overwhelmed by the suffering. And that is why their practice is to run away. Their practice, something refined over years, layered into the small automatic movements of a day. And he describes exactly what it looks like. Reading something, watching something, finding something to eat, making a phone call, imagining there will be some relief waiting in the future, revisiting the past because it feels more familiar than what's here right now. All of it serving the same quiet purpose. Keep the surface moving so nothing rises from underneath. And there's something precise in how he describes the places we escape to. The past and the future, he says, are like images, constructions the mind moves toward because they offer distance from what hurts. They feel real, sometimes more real than what's actually happening right now. But they are images. And the present moment, even this one, even when it's heavy, even when it carries something you don't want to look at directly, this is the only thing that is actually happening. The pain living here is real, unmet, left alone long enough that it starts to feel like it was always this size. And here is what makes this so quietly devastating. The running doesn't empty it. Every time you turn away, you leave it tending to itself. growing familiar with its own weight. And the mind that was trying to protect you from being overwhelmed ends up creating the exact conditions for that overwhelm to deepen over time. He says something about this that is worth staying with. We allow that pain to continue to grow in us, quietly, almost imperceptibly, through 1,000 small departures from the moment a phone picked up, a thought followed, a feeling interrupted before it could complete itself, each one reasonable on its own, each one, over time, part of a pattern that keeps the suffering exactly where it is, alive, unexamined, waiting. And then he says, the thing that changes the geometry of all of it, even if the present moment is unbearable. Coming back to this moment is our only chance to understand the suffering, to calm it, to transform it, not into something painless, but into something we can finally see clearly. Because the suffering that is seen, that is met with something steady and present, behaves differently than suffering left alone in the dark, and something in that lands either as relief or as the most quietly terrifying thing you've heard in a long time, maybe both, in the same breath. So what would it mean to actually stay? Thich Nhat Hanh doesn't frame this as an act of courage exactly. He frames it as an act of care, coming home to yourself, even when what's there is uncomfortable, is the only gesture that can actually reach the suffering. And he says that when you do return, when you bring something steady and present into contact with the pain, something shifts. The energy of mindfulness, as he calls it, makes you strong enough to receive it, to hold it with tenderness rather than panic. In a few minutes, you can calm it. A few minutes, that's how long it takes when you actually stay, for something to begin to move, for the suffering that felt like a wall to reveal itself as something more like weather, present, real, but passing, changing, responsive to being seen. And there's something in that worth noticing. The present moment you've been avoiding, the one that felt unbearable, was never asking you to fix anything. It was only asking to be met, to have someone there, and the someone it needs is the only one who was ever actually available. You, here, in this moment that is already happening, whether you stay with it or not. What I haven't fully figured out yet, and I think this is honest to say, is how to stay without immediately trying to make the staying useful, without turning presence into another project. That impulse is there too. The question Thich Nhat Hanh was asked at the beginning, how do I stay in the present moment when it feels unbearable? Maybe it was never really about technique. Maybe it was about discovering that staying is possible, that you can touch what hurts and remain, that the thing you were most afraid of being overwhelmed by has been waiting this whole time for something as simple as your presence. And maybe the more honest question, the one underneath that one, is this: what have you been keeping just far enough away that you've never had to find out? If something here is still moving in you, don't rush past it. There's another video waiting when you're ready.